Our next keynote is for anyone who's ever asked, how do we get results, real results from AI, not just ideas? That's exactly what this session unpacks, from idea to impact, ROI frameworks that deliver outcome driven AI for your enterprise. It is all about turning buzzwords into actual business outcomes. And leading this session is someone who's building AI platforms with privacy, security, and real world results at the core. Everyone, please welcome on stage with a massive round of applause, Angad Singh, founder and CEO of Nerve Spark.
Good morning, everyone. It's a delight to be here. And what an incredible audience. I'm loving the energy. So, by a show of hands, can we see how many people are actually implementing AI right now or are somewhere in the phase of, doing something, tinkering around with it? Perfect, perfect. That's great. So today, I'm Angad, and I'm the founder of Nerve Sparks. So what we do is we build AI solutions for other companies, from pilots to production. And today I'm here to give that value to you, to give that framework, entire map out, that how do you deliver outcome-driven AI for your enterprise, and how do we actually adopt it? So let's get started. So first of all, let's have an AI reality check. In this entire conference, we've heard this term a lot, AI and AI solutions. But before we go into the good stuff, let's take a step back. Let's have a reality check, and let's address the blind spots. Now, what are these blind spots? First of all, there's hype versus reality. Now, see, with the advent of what's going on, the excitement is really high, and that means that our expectations are really high. So how do we balance those? How do we measure proper business outcomes and align them with all the stakeholders in place? Many organizations feel that the data is ready for this, or maybe they have a structured approach. But what we've seen is most of the times, it's not just having data in proper file systems that's ingestible by AI. You really need to prepare it. You need to work on it. So from unstructured data to structured data, that's a whole new process. So first we need to identify which phase are we in our entire AI adoption lifecycle. And then let's start from there. Once we're done with that, then we have the governance and security layer in place. Now, when we're talking of governance and security, we're talking about compliances, we're talking about role-based access controls. And given, I'm sure you must be, seeing the news with newer and newer technologies coming in the way, there becomes, there's a very thin line between what AI should be given control of, what it shouldn't be, and how do you actually take care of it, especially in an organization with different levels of, a hierarchical system. And then there's a missing link. How do we link all this together? How do we define a structured approach to connect these AI initiatives? That's what we'll be focusing on as well. So now there's a big number on the screen, 95%. So this is the uncomfortable truth about enterprise AI. AI pilots fail to reach production, 95% of them. And this is a number quoted by MIT. This is not just a number that I'm coming up with. Now this is a big number. How do we address this gap? It's something like, I'm sure you guys must have heard of the gold rush. So we all came here. 95% of us got the shovels as well. But we forgot the maps. Now, the good part is that we're seeing executives now getting into ROI pressure. We want to measure what we're doing and why we're doing that. We have production grade focus since day one now, even in the pilot stage, so that our foundational layer that we are setting up, that's strong. Then change management. How do we align from top down and bottom up approach? How do we align the stakeholders with the people on the front lines? Finally speaking, how are we adding value to the end users? So the gap between AI investment and impact, it's no more a technology problem. It's a measurement problem. because we have the tech. But what's more important is how do we align it with our business ROI? Now, what happens without a clear ROI framework? We have wasted resources. Wasted resources can be huge. There's opportunity cost. There's cost that's already gone down. So you have, an average failed AI project cost that's ranging in millions of dollars now. There's a comparative disadvantage. Organizations who don't have that ROI discipline, they move slower, and your competitors will always move faster if they have the map. Then you have eroded trust. Executives will start losing confidence if the pilots keep failing. You have talent flight. Your most talented engineers, data scientists leave organizations without clear goals. And I mean, the kind of wasted resources we're talking about, it's enough to, I guess, buy an island, you know, or it can be another investment for a non planned AI project. So there's no better way. A framework that connects your AI initiatives to business outcomes from day one. Now, what is this impact framework that we'll be talking about? What are we addressing here? Let's start with identifying outcomes. We'll go into detail as well. Let's start with, measuring what matters, what actually matters, not just a shiny tech product. Let's start prioritizing by value. Let's align the stakeholders who are in this entire stakeholder map. I'll be showing that as well. Like, who all do we need to get in the picture? We all need to be in the same boat. Let's calculate the true cost. We'll be showing that too. Let's deep dive into the cost of it. How are we, how are we explaining these ROI numbers? How are we explaining the investments going in place? And finally, let's keep tracking continuously. That's the golden piece. So every AI initiative must just answer one question and one question only. What specific business outcome will improve and by how much? If we have clarity on that part, then sky's the limit. So let's identify business outcomes first. We can categorize them into three values. One is automate operations, where we're streamlining processes and improving efficiency. You can see there are various examples on the screen too. Then you have grow the business, where you can accelerate revenue by expanding customer value. Then you have reimagine. So this is my favorite one because this is the most futuristic one. You transform experiences entirely and you unlock newer ways of working. Now, this sounds very futuristic, right? But let's not forget the most important thing here is faster time to market. It may sound futuristic, but if we're not there in time, then we're late. So, there's a right way and a wrong approach to this of how we should be asking questions, even if we're asking the right ones. Now, on a lighter note, say, so this actually happened. Data scientists and developers, they walk into our room and we're discussing about what kind of business outcomes do we need. And the data scientist says, hey, I've trained the perfect model. Everything is going great. So then the CEO is asking, okay, great. So how are you measuring it? So the data scientist says, we have improved the accuracy of the model by 2%, and we've reduced the entire system latency by 100 milliseconds. You see the gap? Here we're talking about business ROI, and no doubt the technical metrics are important. But how important is it in the final value, in the bigger picture? That's what we need to address. And that's what we need to even, get people online for. So in measuring what matters, we have these categories, right? Accordingly, we have the AI ideas that will keep coming up. Then you have your key performance indicators, which are the most important things to define. If we can define that, then we're good to go. We know exactly what to measure. Only then we can align stakeholders in our entire AI stakeholder map. So that's very important. How are we measuring business outcomes. Now, this is a pyramid of different levels. On the first one, you'll see technical metrics. On the second one, you'll see operational metrics. And on level 3, you'll see business KPIs. Now, see, if the most important thing here is how do we get level 1 and level 3 to talk? And they need to be connected. If they are connected, that means your tech along with your business outcomes. If you can relate those, that's where the opportunity is. And that's where we're solving problems. So, that being said, this entire pyramid, this falls under observability and explainability. Now, whenever we talk about observability or explainability, people always think we're talking about how technically well the solution is doing. No doubt. See, being a person of tech, that's our core responsibility. 100% agreed. So we're supposed to do that. Of course, we're supposed to do that. But every AI project needs these explainability metrics in place that shows the connection between our level 1 technical metrics and the business KPIs. That means that people in your entire stakeholder on the hierarchical level, they focus on the numbers that they need to make those decisions on those levels. Let's start prioritizing value potential. This is the most simple exercise that all of us can do. Let's check it. Let's see what are the low complexity projects with the highest value. These will be our easy wins. These we can execute immediately. We can start building momentum with them. And these are what I believe that we should be focusing on initially. Then you have your big bets. You have the high value ones and you have the high complexity ones. Now, these we need to plan carefully because they are also risky. We need to align resources appropriately for them and accordingly manage expectations. Then you have your low value and the high complexity ones. Let's deprioritize them for now. Let's really eliminate them. Let's focus on the good ones, the easy ones for now. And then you have your fill ins. Let's execute them if we have the resources available in the end. And trust me, with the kind of use cases we have, you won't have any resources available. Now, what we've seen is when organizations start asking the hard questions, that's when they understand and they get reality checks. These are some hard questions that we should be asking. These are some pre-signing of criterias, even for your strong good cases or your strong use cases. Do we have the business value explained clearly? Is it strategically important or not? Do we have a clear path to implementation? Have we mapped out our entire experience, or what are we going to go through? Are we assessing the risks in place? Are we using the best technology for our purpose? See, right now, for whichever use case you want to do, you do a Google search, simple, or even a chat GPT, anything. You'll find thousands of different products and solutions just catering to your problem. How do we get to know that our problem? See, what I believe is problem statements may overlap. Of course, no doubt on that. But data will be different. That's what we've seen. Mostly data is different. So you need that tailored approach. Out of these, how do you navigate through this ocean of AI solutions? It's an ocean. Complexity and data. How data ready you are. How easily is the data accessible? How easily is it integratable? We've seen organizations have data in 20-year-old legacy systems. They sometimes don't even have connectors. So we're going back first. We need to go build connectors. Then we need to start converting that data into a structured format, make it readily ingestible by AI. This is the AI stakeholder map, where we need to align these people with different roles, responsibilities, and each of them will be asking specific questions related to their roles. Let's take a step back here. If we cannot name the specific business owner who will be accountable for adoption and outcomes, Let's stop and identify them before proceeding. 100%, that's the most important step here. If we can identify them, then we know exactly what everybody wants in our entire stakeholder map. Let's calculate total cost of ownership. So I'm sure you've seen Titanic, right? So this is the iceberg. You have visible cost that's above the surface, and you have hidden cost that's below the surface. Now, in this entire calculation of total cost of ownership, I've not included a very important cost. That's the emotional cost that we need to go through while explaining to the board that how we didn't get the ROI. That's still not included in that. But you see how the hidden costs outweigh the visible costs? And they will always be present. Now, tracking and iterating continuously. See, let's start analyzing our solutions. If we can analyze them after a structured approach that we have in place, we need to have proper monitoring systems too. Because what's happening is every day your data will keep increasing. AI solutions or even the LLMs, everything that's coming out, right? They're getting better and better. Now, what's happening is our expectations are not decreasing. They will, of course, keep increasing. Now, what we need to do is we need to have proper monitoring systems in place so we can complete the feedback loop. We can optimize on the feedback, specifically the customer feedback. Because whatever we are building in our entire ecosystem, if the customer is not happy with it, and he's anyway going to get off it and go back and say, hey, you know what? I can do it myself. I'll probably take a few more days. That's fine. But I can do it. Sure. Then what's the point of it? Right? So continuously creating that feedback loop, improving based on customer feedback, improving on the basis of data that is being generated, continuously converting that into AI ingestible data, labeling that, creating that metadata so that we can have a structured approach to it. Most of the times, people think they have an AI problem, but they don't. We have a data problem that first we need to solve. Only then will we be coming to the optimizing and improving the efficiency of our solutions, which again is correlated to the business KPIs. And you see iteration. So you'll see every 2 weeks down the line. Right now, I think we're at ChatGPT 5.1. We'll get another version and we'll keep getting newer versions. Why is that so? Because we are always improving. Data is being generated. We need to go back. We need to start adding more and more value. Competition is high. So our models keep getting better. And so should our entire ecosystem of solutions too. Reporting. If we have the proper reporting and analysis in place, only then can we measure the right feedback. Now, reporting can be on different levels, can be different. Your organization heads, they are working on certain metrics. They want to see how fast adoption is taking place. Your end users are the ones who are dealing with this every day. And your stakeholders, the business owners, they need some other numbers on the table. So you'll see different dashboards for each and every one of them, catering to specifically the numbers they need to make those decisions. And then you go ahead and deploy it into production. So here we define some important roles. You have the activities, you have frequencies, you have owners in line, and you have the purpose that these owners have in place. So what we've seen is organizations who start treating AI as living systems that require continuous attention and optimization are the ones that succeed. And those are the ones that join the 5% club. What happens is that means what do we need now? We need data administrators. We need AI administrators. And that's how there's an entire shift going on right now. Your AI solutions, the different models that you're using in each of your enterprise. You may have 5 6 different keys in your enterprise licenses from all these different models. How do we know which one is good for what reason? How do we personalize it, fine tune it according to your company policies, your compliances that you are giving to your customers? You may need all data on, on your servers. You don't need it online. How do we start catering to that? So it's kind of like, you've seen in cybersecurity, you have, SOC, L1, L2. That's how it is going to be in AI as well, specifically for these AI administrator parts. And these are also the human in the loop people, the people who are responsible for improving your context, the people who are responsible for improving your prompts. So the more and more context we have clarity on the context part, and specifically how do we give instructions to these AI systems, the better our solutions start getting. So this is the key takeaway. What do we do when we get back home after this conference? This is the best one. And this is like a short activity that all of you can plan out. And whenever you're back in your office, you're sitting down with your team and you're remembering, hey guys, we went to this AI conference. Now, what are the next steps ahead? When you're steering the ship. So let's start with these small activities. Let's start with an audit first. Let's just do a simple inventory check. And once we're done with that, let's start validating outcomes. Let's just clearly define, what do the clients want, what do you want, and how are you implementing this entire AI approach? What are you going ahead with? Let's have a few deliverables in place. This won't take much of your time, trust me. We're just having an open conversation with your team internally. Let's define the quick wins. Let's define the high impact projects with the low effort pilots. Let's start small. Let's just, this is an activity that you can do, and let's just define a 30, 60, 90-day plan of how you can take care of it. Most important thing, let's set up a recurring invite. Let's just block calendars of our team just for maybe half an hour, 1 hour, so that we're actually talking about this subject and we're not left behind. The more and more we interact and communicate, the more ideas will keep flowing. But we need to get them on paper. We need to get them, pen them down and start talking about it. After that, we can review it. And once we're done reviewing it, then we can align all the stakeholders in our AI stakeholder map together. Let's align the sponsors, the tech, the finance. Let's answer their questions specifically, what they're asking. After we're done with that, then we can set up ROIs and tracking metrics. So all this is on the basis of a priority level. That's what we need to define first very clearly. See, I'm not asking you to do everything at once. We should never be doing that. Let's start small. Let's start with just one project or your highest, priority one. One framework and one measurable outcome. Let's just start from that and let's build from there. So that is, going to be your takeaway from this conference and specifically from this session. So let's start with these activities and let's join the 5% club. Thank you, everyone.